Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and welcome back to the Terror in the Isles Challenge. Now, this is the segment I'm doing with my good buddy Joe the Horror Man, where we're going to examine films from Terror in the Isles. Not only the theatrical cut, but the television cut as well. Today we're going to be talking about The Fury. The Fury is a 1978 film which runs approximately 118 minutes and is directed by Brian De Palma. Now, he was responsible for Obsession, Sisters, and Phantom of the Paradise. This stars Kirk Douglas as Peter. He passed away on February 5th, 2020, at the age of 103. Wow. He was in Spartacus, Ace in the Hole, and Lust for Life. This also stars John Cassavetes as Childress. He passed away on February 3rd, 1989, at the age of 59. He was in Love Streams, The Dirty Dozen, and Rosemary's Baby. And Carrie Snodgrass as Hester. She passed away on April 1st, 2004, at the age of 58. She was in Pale Rider, Wild Things, and Murphy's Law. Now, the budget on this film was $5.5 million, and John Williams' music was composed in the style of Bernard Herrmann score, just like he did with Hitchcock. Purposely. The Fury is something that I have reviewed before. I believe I did it on my 31 Days of Horror in October, a couple years ago. So definitely check out that review as well. That was actually the first time I'd ever seen it, surprisingly enough, because I'm a big fan of Brian De Palma. The problem was, this movie is really, really hard to find. I'm going to tell a brief synopsis on this, because this movie's a little bit on the complicated side. They're basically telling two stories at one time. They're telling the story of the Kirk Douglas character and his son, played by Andrew Stevens. Now, his son has this power of telekinesis. And Kurt Russell, of course, his dad, they're on holiday, and he watches his dad die, or at least so he thinks. And he gets put in this school for special kids, or special people, who can do telekinesis. And then this also tells the story of Gillian. Now, she can also do what he does with her mind, but she can also, well, one of the discussions I had with Joe, if you guys are familiar with comic books, of course, is the Rogue character from the X-Men. Now, she's able to touch people and gain their thoughts and their experiences. Not necessarily their powers, but that, well, I don't want to spoil anything, so I won't go into any further of that than what I'm saying right now. But this was actually before Rogue. Rogue was out in 1981 in Avengers Annual number 10, and her first appearance was in ROM number 31 in 1982. And she actually joined the X-Men in late 82 and was a normal member in 83, if I remember correctly. And I have a feeling that they kind of got some of her character from this. But yeah, she has the same powers as him, only she can do a little bit more, and she is now in the place where he is. Now, she is there trying to help the Kirk Douglas character find his son. Now, this company wants to use him for evil, and she wants to help him, and so on and so forth. That's pretty much the story in a nutshell. It does go back and forth a lot, so this is one you have to kind of pay attention to, or else you can get lost in the shuffle, because it does go back and forth a lot. Now, this is a movie, like I said, was very, very hard to find for a long time, and that's why I had never seen it, even though Brian De Palma is probably one of my favorite directors. This has, how do I explain this one? In a lot of his movies, he does like a split screen sort of thing, where you get to see if anyone's seen Carrie, they actually do it in that one. And they do it in a lot of his other films, where you get to see two different points of view. This one, I noticed that they don't do that with, but they also do another thing he's famous for, which is like a kind of like a slow motion montage where you hear music, there's no dialogue, there's no sound other than the fact of what's happening on the screen. And it's just an amazing style and technique that Brian De Palma has. This movie's fantastic. When I was talking to Joe, I said the first time I saw it, it was probably at a 7. Now it's probably at an 8.5 or 9 because it's just a fantastic film. It is on the longer side, but Brian De Palma has this way of pacing his films really well. Now I'm going to get to my relatable recommendation, which is going to be another Brian De Palma movie. And that's going to be Blowout. Now this is actually one of my favorites. This has Nancy Allen and John Travolta. He plays a guy who does sound for movies, and he records an accident, and then they want his tape of the accident. It's very, it's definitely a Brian De Palma film, and it's probably in my top 5. It's a very good film. So check out Blowout, check out The Fury, and don't forget to check out Joe's review and see what he picks as a recommendation. And if you like what you see in here, hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, peace.